So, I hope you're all ready for some enforced overtime, because it looks like that Brexit is going to end up shackling us to unpaid overtime. So, recently the Sun ran an article, basically with the massive title, The Shackles Come Off, an overtime bonanza that Brexit will bring to British workers. However, this is completely wrong. So what it's looking at basically getting rid of is complying with the EU's Working Time Directive, or the WTD. So it's basically UK workers can earn more by working longer hours than the current 48-hour weekly limit. And it argues that employers will spend less on agency staff. Well, this is completely wrong, because the first argument against this is you can already work over 48 hours a week. You can choose to opt out of the Working Time Directive if you are over 18 and don't work in an industry where tiredness kills. For example, airline staff, ship and boat workers, delivery drivers, and other transport and travel workers, security guards on vehicles carrying high-value goods, etc., etc. Doctors can also opt out of this, but they must take the Working Time Directive rest requirements. So workers can also opt out for a specific period or indefinitely, but it has to be voluntary. You can't be treated unfairly or shackled by your employer if you don't opt out. So UK workers are already free to work more than 48 hours if they want. It's entirely voluntary, and their employer cannot punish them or force them to do it otherwise. And already you have a situation where workers already find it quite hard to fight for their rights. So good luck after that's gone, trying to work under 48 hours, and your boss is saying, no, you have to work over, you have to do this overtime. So this is the other one, and they claim that scrapping it will lead to higher pay. It won't, because according to a government impact report by the former Department for Businesses, Innovation and Skills in 2014, 16 years after the WTD was introduced in the UK, the regulation has not had an impact on wages either way. It's hard to measure because the minimum wage was being introduced a year later, so it doesn't look like that workers have been losing out financially from it. The other one thing is it makes more jobs. The same analysis has found that actually increased employment among lower hour jobs, so getting rid of it doesn't sound like the best thing for workers. So the whole point of it is for safety and well-being. The WTD is intended to improve both public and personal safety and health and well-being. It's odd to celebrate the end of these protections, even if they aren't perfectly suited to all industries. The spirit of them has been a good thing for workers' rights in this country since they were introduced, and workers have had more autonomy over their hours and how they approach their work. The other argument is that workers would lose out from unlimited hours. Companies want to make money. That's pretty obvious. You know, if they can make you work limitless overtime, then the employer is being given more power than the worker, and they are likely to get more out of it financially than the worker would. The political economist Richard Murphy, author of The Joy of Tax, suggested recently that the money lost from Brexit's slow growth, which the FT calculates at 350 million a week, will be paid by exploiting British workers who will no longer have the right to go home when they want and will be exposed to greater risk as a result. But get this, paid holiday and lunch breaks are also now at risk. Annual leave is part of the Working Time Directives, is 4 weeks. So if you scrap it, paid holidays at stake. And it's the same with regulations that enforce rest and break periods. This includes lunch breaks. The TUC warns that scrapping the Working Time Directive could reduce holidays and breaks. Losing these protections of the directive means that 7 million workers could lose the right to paid holidays. And that's 4.7 million of them women, and many on 0-hour or part-time contracts. It claims that a petition to protect the regulation even more could be forced by bosses to work more than 48 hours a week, while others lose guaranteed lunch and rest breaks. So, yeah, congratulations guys, because, yeah, you know, voting for Brexit, you also voted for that.